everyone. Welcome and thank you so much for joining the Student World Talks. My name is Lean, and today I will be the host for this episode. I'm very excited actually because this is a very special episode, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of amazing things to talk about and lots of information about studying abroad that you guys can benefit from. So I can already see that there's a lot of you here, guys. So I already introduced myself. My name is Lean, but I would like to know more about you, about what is your name and where are you watching us from? Because I know that we always have people watching us from all over the world, from so many countries, and it's always fun knowing which countries are you guys watching us from. Uh, I really appreciate you guys being here because I know it's different timing for everyone. Some people you might have it really late at night, some people you have it in the morning. So it would be interesting just to know which countries you guys are watching us from, just so I can say hi and we can get to know each other more. So you guys can just put your names and the countries that you're watching us from here on the comments. Um, and while you guys do that, I'm just going to give you a quick summary of what is the Student World Talks. So it is a talk show that is entirely focused on everything related to studying abroad, whether it was finding programs or bringing university representative or even students who studied abroad so that they can share their experiences with you. So if that's something that interests you, then I think you're in the right place because that's what happens here usually in these live shows. So I'm seeing here some comments. Hi, Celia from Algeria. Hi, Nick from, oh, hi, Alvaro. So I'm sorry, guys, if I pronounce any of the names wrong, but I still want to say hi. So hi, Amira from Algeria also. Uh, so that's interesting. We have a lot of people from Algeria, which is pretty nice. Welcome, guys, and thank you for taking the time to be here. Um, So, as just like how you guys put your names here and the countries, you can continue on doing that throughout the live by asking your questions. So, during this live today, we're going to have a university representative who's going to be telling us all about the amazing opportunities, programs, admission process, and anything that you need to know. And if I missed any of the questions, you have the opportunity to ask them here on the comments, and we will be sure to pick them and answer them. But before introducing the guest, I would just like to remind you guys to like this video if you enjoy what you're seeing and if you're benefiting from the information that you're getting, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel because this is how you get updated on the live. So every time there's a new live show, you're going to be updated if you're subscribed to our channel. And if you don't enjoy it, you can also press the you can also just tell us feedback, and we will be more than happy to improve and listen to what you have to say. And okay, so now I see more comments. Actually, before I wasn't seeing a lot of them. Hi from Ghana, Shalom. Hello from Ivory Coast, Angie. Hi, Ahmed from Palestine. Hi from Italy. Hi, Moses from Kenya. So, yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to share with me your countries. That's interesting. So, now it's finally time that I can introduce the amazing guest that we have today. So, this institution is ranked number one for university transfer among all California community colleges. So, it is an affordable option that gives you the chance to transfer to a university. And you will get to know more about this throughout the live. So, with Irvine Valley College, you can start a new career path in 1 year or less. It offers more than 100 career ready degrees and certificates related to in demand industries. Located in Irvine, which has been the safest city in America for 15 years in a row. So these are all amazing facts. But if you really want to know more about this institution, please watch this video.
A lot of international students dream of graduating from a UC or top private university. Whatever you choose, your future starts at Irvine Valley College.
All the props go out to IVC. I mean, they have so many resources for new students.
The professors, they're willing to talk to the students, to help you grow as a person.
The academics at Irvine Valley College are amazing.
IVC is the #1 transfer rate community college in California, and a lot of people here get to go to the places that they've always dreamt of.
IVC helps many international students go to dream schools like UCLA, Berkeley, and UCI, as well as top universities throughout the USA.
I see a lot of people take their schooling seriously, and it helps me implement it on my studying. I never really studied before that much, but now I'm seeing people studying the libraries, reading books at home. It's helping me become a better student.
It's the perfect home for international students. Los Angeles and San Diego are just a short drive away, and Irvine has been on the FBI's Safest Cities in America list for 15 years. You'll enjoy great weather year-round, and world-class shopping, culture, and beaches are nearby.
I love it. I wish I could just finish here, honestly.
Class sizes at IVC are small, so professors can give you personal attention to ensure your success.
Definitely here, I think I've been challenged academically. I feel I've hit a wide range of subjects, and I do feel prepared.
The International Student Program is a second home for many students. They offer special events and workshops and help with things like academic counseling, immigration advising, and university transfer. IVC offers more than 160 degrees and certificates, including options for undecided transfer students, so whatever you're interested in, they have something for you. Many international students choose to start at a community college because it's such a good value compared to other schools. Community college tuition is half the cost of university tuition. IVC international students can save money while doing the same education towards the first 2 years of a bachelor's degree. Students receive the same high-quality education at IVC while preparing for university transfer. With IVC, you can turn your dreams into reality. Begin with the best by beginning with Irvine Valley College, where all are welcome.
Thanks, IVC!
Apply today at ivc.edu.
That was great. So now it's finally time to introduce our lovely guest for today. Hello, Christina.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
So how do you feel being here with all the students, seeing all of them coming from all over the world?
It's great. I mean, that's one of the great things about the virtual sort of space we're in right now, right? It's opening up the world a lot more to us right here in the office.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get to know more about about Irvine Valley College, I just want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and about what do you do for this community college.
Sure. So I'm Christina Delgado. I'm the director of the International Student Program here at Irvine Valley College. I've been here since about 2014 at this particular school. And then before that, I was at another community college for about 17 years. So I've worked in the community college in the U.S. all my career, more or less. So I'm really a big proponent of community colleges and how fantastic they can be for students and international students in particular. And I love working at this school. It's a great school, as Lean had said, in terms of our academics and the location. And I love helping students. It's so much fun to watch students coming in and they're very nervous and shy and not so sure about what's going on. And then by the time they get through the program, they've just changed into these very self-assured, ready to take on the world adults. It's fun.
Awesome. That's great. So I hope you guys really take this opportunity to ask Christina all your questions to know more about anything related to community college or about what you want to study. So now the first question is, who is Irvine Valley College?
So yeah, Irvine Valley College, I mean, you heard a little bit about in the video, which was nice to see all those activities happening. We've missed that a little bit because of COVID. So Irvine Valley College is a 2-year community college. We are a public school in California, so we're part of the state system in California. There's actually 116 community colleges in California, so it's pretty common. There's over 3,000 in the United States, so that's a very common way to get educated here in the U.S. Irvine Valley College has, as it was mentioned, the #1 transfer rate. So the biggest reason international students come to us is to do the first 2 years at a community college and then transfer on to university. But it's also just a great school, very well known for academics, and in a really nice location in Southern California.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And just like you heard, guys, it is the #1 for transfer in California, and we're going to talk more about what that means. So, what would you say is unique about IVC?
Well, I mean, I think, IBC does a really great job in combining academics, right? So obviously, if you're going to go to a community college or any college, you want a school that does and has very strong academics. That we have and that most schools have. But I think we also have a really good program of student support in a variety of areas. So, key when you're looking for a school, whatever school you're looking for, not just that they have your major, right? Obviously, that's important, but also what is the student support like? Because you're going to be really relying on those support services to answer, questions. So our campus has an international student office. We have specific academic counselors that work just with our international students. Students aren't sent over to the general counseling unit because that's really important to make sure you're getting the right information specific to the F1 or the international student visa. So that kind of support, I think, is really important. But there's also a lot of academic support in terms of tutoring and different kind of labs where you can do different work for your classes. And then social support. I was really surprised when I came here in 2014 how much was always going on in terms of activities. Um, Obviously that's changed a little bit with COVID, but generally there's always something going on through our student life office. So it's a really great way that students can get involved, meet other students, and have fun while studying. So I think the student support, in addition to the academics, is something important to look for.
Great. So we've been mentioning that IVC is a community college, but a lot of the students don't really know what that is. In other countries, it might not be there. So can you please tell the students what are the differences between a community college and a university?
I would love to. So, community colleges we are part of the university system in a way. We're separate, but we're part of it. And we're an important part of it and a very common part of every bachelor's degree that's been granted here in the US. So, in the US, the bachelor's or the undergraduate degree is typically 4 years. And what students most commonly are familiar with or most think they want to get into is doing all 4 years at a university, which is fine. That's kind of the traditional pathway, the most well known. In the US, however, there's another way to get into university that can save you a ton of money, that can help you get into maybe even a higher level university and can kind of offer you a soft landing as you're coming in from another country. And that's us. That's the community college. So the community college offers the first 2 years of the university. So we do year 1 and 2. All of those courses will then transfer to the university. You can do year 3 and 4 at the university, and you're still getting that same bachelor's degree. You've just done part of your education at another school. How that can happen, and this is quite different than many other countries. So a lot of times students are like, oh my God, that isn't possible. That doesn't exist. This is a joke. And maybe even more parents think that as well. But it's because the US system of bachelor's or undergrad degree is very different than overseas. So a lot of times in different countries, when you start your bachelor's, you're starting right in your major. That's not the same at the US school. The first 2 years of a US bachelor's typically are conferring the general education courses, math, science, history, arts, English, all of those general education courses. In the last 2 years is when you're really focusing on your major. So that's how we can exist. Because if every school, every university in the United States requires students to do general education coursework, and the community college offers the general education coursework, you know those classes are going to be transferable. There's direct links between community colleges within states, but you can also go out of state to any college because, again, the general education is required by every school. Why would you want to do that, though? The biggest reason is the tuition savings. Community colleges are about anywhere from 30 to 70% less expensive than university. It doesn't mean we're less valued or not as good. It's really an emphasis on the U.S. wanting to offer an option to educate everybody. And so they're offering different ways, or we are offering different ways to make sure everyone has access to education. So that's it kind of in a snapshot.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you for that. So you already in the beginning mentioned, talked a little bit about the strong sense of community that IVC has. So can you also maybe describe the feeling of being there at IVC versus being at a big university, a big campus with like so many like large classes? So how
Sure.
is the environment there at IVC?
Yeah, I think, that's a really another good point is, again, because if you go to a large university like UCLA with 20, 30,000 students, and every single one of those students has to do general education, you're going to be in some pretty large classes, anywhere from 100 to 200 large lecture classes, which is a very different learning experience. And a lot of times you will have a smaller class that's taught by like a graduate student as a part of your math class, for example. In community colleges, even when we vary in size, the class size is much smaller. So our typical class size is about 30 students. So your writing one or your composition class at UCLA, that might have 100 to 200 students. At a community college or at IVC, it's about 30 students. So it's a lot more time to talk with the teacher. It's much easier to talk with the teacher. Teachers at community colleges are here to instruct students. They don't have research or other kind of writing requirements that they have to do as a part of their job. So they're very available to talk with students and help you along in the course.
That's great. So we already know a lot of great things about IVC, like having these personalized experiences and also the tuition saving option. So now let's dig in to know more about the programs offered at IVC. So what are the credentials offered at IVC in terms of bachelor's, associate degree, certificate?
Mm-hmm. So community colleges, we offer certificates and we offer associate degrees. I think I see a question somewhere. We do not offer master's programs. And so a lot of times when students hear a 2-year degree at a community college, they mistakenly think it's a master's. It's not. We're lower than that, right? We're lower level. We're undergraduate. So students will typically get the associate degree. It is a formally recognized degree here in the United States. It is a 2-year degree. And there's two options for that, really. There's the transfer pathway degree. And again, those are the degrees that will directly transfer you into year 3 at a university of your choice. But we also have vocational degrees. Vocational or employment-based degrees are 2-year degrees where you're focusing more on the major, because the expectation is when you're finished with the degree, you're going to get right into the career field. So let's say it's a general business degree. You're going to get the skills you need to get employment once you graduate after 2 years. We also have certificate programs, and certificate programs are short term. They're usually 6 months to a year. They don't transfer necessarily, but they focus just on the major. So if you were to do like an accounting certificate, a 6-month certificate in accounting, you're going to be just taking accounting courses. You'll have that certificate to be able to show your employer that you have the skills needed for a particular job. If you're going to do an accounting degree, you would have both the accounting major courses as well as the general education courses combined. And then that's a higher level credential that you would have than a certificate.
Mm-hmm. So, what is the highest degree offered then at IVC?
At IVC, the highest would be the associate degree.
Okay, perfect. So there's a question here from Nick. Do you guys offer trades programs?
I think, Nick, if you mean by trades, vocational or employment programs, yes, we do. We have a fair number of employment programs, accounting being one of them. We have real estate programs, child development, things of that nature, where the goal is to prepare students to enter the workforce directly and get you those practical skills you need to be able to get a job.
All right, perfect. I think he just said construction.
Construction is one that we do not have. So that's going to be an important thing, right? A lot of times, and this is like, if I can give one piece of advice that everybody takes, I think a lot of times students, in particular international students, look at the name of the school or the ranking of the school. But if the name of the school, like Berkeley, doesn't have your major of construction, that's not a school that maybe you want to really focus on. You've got to look at where your major is offered to make the best choice. And just because it has that ranking doesn't mean it's the best choice for you. So you got to do your research.
All right, thank you. So, how many programs are there at IVC?
So we have over 100 different majors, both either vocational, meaning the employment-based, or transfer programs, either in certificate or associate degrees. And they are offered across the arts and sciences. So we have a full wide range of choices for students.
All right, great. So, what are the popular programs you would say among international students?
Definitely business administration by far, anything related to business. Second to that, of course, would be economics, and then computer science. But we also have a pretty active visual arts program. In fact, they just broke ground on building a whole new visual arts complex, which should be open in a couple of years, which will be fantastic. They'll have galleries and practice spaces, so it will really level up our program. And then we also have a pre-engineering track as well.
Great. And so those career ready certificates, they're different than the majors, right?
So, I mean, some of our majors offer both the certificates as well as the associate degree. Some just focus on maybe a certificate program. So it really depends. There is some overlap. And on our website, you'll be able to see in our academic page all of our majors. And in fact, there's something that you'll find that a lot of community colleges have now on their websites. We definitely do. And it's called Find Your Path. And this is a great way that when you're sitting up late at night and bored or whatever, you can go on Find Your Path. You can click on that and you can get an idea of maybe what your interests are. Maybe you know you want to do a particular thing, but you're not sure what major you should be studying. You can go through a series of exercises online, and it's going to show you what majors would be good for you to attain a career in chemical engineering or photonics or whatever it may be. Or if you know what your major is, but you're not sure what the career is or what the courses will be like, you can put that in there as well, and it'll pull up a full map of what type of classes you might be taking in your particular area of interest. It's a great, great research tool.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a great option for the students as well. So as I was doing the research, I found that IVC offers over 60 different certificate programs that provide the specific training in various fields. So can you name some of these certificates for the students?
Sure. So we definitely have in our businesses, we have business sciences, we have accounting, we have general business, computer information systems management, things that are going to be able to get you into a entry-level career in business. Child development is also a very popular certificate with us. So for students wanting to get into the childcare industry, typically with, the youngsters like well, babies, all the way up to 5. So getting into kind of the childcare industry, that's a really popular one as well. There are different levels of certificates in that program where you can either be like a colleague in the program or even run your own center. So those have been really popular. We also have some performing arts certificates in music and dance as well. So it's across the different spectrums of arts and sciences that we have certificate programs.
Mhm. Awesome. Thanks. So, guys, now we're talking about programs and about what IVC offers. So, please keep your questions coming about everything that you want to know about the programs offered there. So, those certificate programs that they provide the job training. So, can you explain a little bit to the students? How do you prepare students for employment?
Sure. So, again, the certificates, if you're focusing on those, are really just giving you the major courses. So you're not taking any of that gen ed coursework. So you're going to be taking, I always pick accounting because it's the easiest one. You're going to be taking the basics of accounting. And that's the other great thing about community colleges. A lot of times we get students, maybe even in theater arts, for example, they're interested in theater arts, but they haven't had any experience in it, or they're interested in accounting, but they haven't had any experience in accounting. Can they do that program? Yes. Yeah. Community college programs are always starting at the beginning level. We are anticipating that students are first time students or changing a career and maybe don't know a lot about a particular field. So don't let that stop you. So, an accounting certificate is going to start at the beginning levels of the basics of accounting, and then it's going to move you through higher level courses so that you would be able to then be able get a job. There are opportunities through the Career Center where they do have employers who post jobs that available in our local community. And of course, international students have regulations, immigration regulations related to how and when and if you can work off campus. But there are internship opportunities through those certificates and our degrees that students can do, either through curricular practical training if the major allows for it, or optional practical training, which is open to all international students after a certain period of time of study. They are great ways to build your resume doing internships off campus. You have accessibility to them at each degree level. So you'd have opportunities at a community college. If you went to university, you would then have more opportunities at that level as well. So it's a really good way to build your work experience.
Great. So, as we mentioned before, that university focuses more on research and theory. Compared to that, how is the learning style at IVC?
Well, I've heard from students who've transferred on and then, come back to visit, which we love, by the way. So they say it's more hands-on, I think, at community college. Like the instructor is more hands-on with the students, probably partially in large part because the class size is typically smaller. They have more time to devote to the students. But we do have certainly theory and research-based courses, in say psychology or sociology. But it's a smaller, more cohesive kind of learning experience. There's a lot of group work, a big emphasis on critical thinking, a big emphasis on student interpersonal skills, talking with other students, talking in the classroom, giving your opinion. That's a really important part of participating in the classroom experience. So it's very interactive, even in the lecture courses.
Great. So I see here Daphne commenting if you can ask. Of course, you can ask a question and we will be more happy to answer it. You can just comment it here. So I know that we already talked a little bit about the transfer process, but can you give just more information about the transfer process, like from the beginning to the end to the students? Like, is it guaranteed? Is it for all the programs,
Mhm.
or are there any exceptions?
Sure. So I was trying to think how I can answer it. The best way to answer that, number one, a wonderful part of the US system is that it's super flexible. And I know that a lot of other countries, it's very rigid or predetermined. Once you get into a major, you're in that major. and there's no way to change it really. That's totally different than the US. I changed my major 3 times before I finally decided, and I still graduated in 4 years. So there's a lot of ability to explore, and that includes even in your university transfer. So all colleges have counseling, academic counselors available. I mentioned that earlier. IVC has international academic counselors, so they know the specific immigration regulations and the transfer requirements for international students, which can sometimes often vary or be different than for our domestic students. So, the first thing you're going to want to do is work with your academic counselors pretty closely to make sure you're on the right track. I always tell the students your friends know where great parties are and where the best place to go shopping is and where the greatest restaurant is. They don't know the transfer requirements to university. Leave that to the school academic counselors. Um, in California, California has a great system. It's called the IGETSI system, and it's where the universities have outlined the courses that we offer that are guaranteed to transfer, assuming you get the C grade or higher. And so it's like putting a puzzle together. You choose the right classes, and they fit right into the university system, so it's an easy entry into that third year. So there's a set pattern of classes for general education, and you will take a certain number of classes from that pattern. So even though everybody, for example, has to take arts and humanities, maybe you like art more than you like music. So you have choice even within that pattern. So you take those courses, they're all guaranteed to transfer. There's also another system, it's called assist.org, and it lists the major courses and what you need to take to be eligible to transfer. So again, 50%, I think it's actually 55% now of university degrees in America, students started at community college first. So it's very common in the United States for universities to accept community college students. So they work very closely. They're our partners, um, so that they want to get our students and they want to help us transfer you all pretty seamlessly. But the biggest thing is work with the academic counselor. They know what you need to take. They will give you the pattern that you need to follow, and you can come in as often as you like throughout your time of study to make sure we always recommend at least once a semester to make sure you're on the right path.
That's really interesting, Christina. Thank you for sharing that. So there's a question from Instagram. Do you have online programs?
Well, that is a very interesting question during these times. Certainly, we do have some programs that are online. Typically, community colleges, in particular for international students, are in person. So you would need to be here in the US to finish the degree at some point. That was pre COVID. Most community colleges, all their programs maybe had online classes, but you would have to be here in the United States to finish the in person classes. Since COVID, obviously, we've been doing a lot online. And so it has been possible for students to take their classes from overseas and potentially even finish their degree from overseas. I think how that will continue after COVID goes away will depend on each different community college. Um, in California, for example, there's only one fully online community college. Most of the other, well, all 115 have in person.
hmm Um, so Miguel is also asking from Instagram, do you have a game design or a cinema program?
Um, Game design, we do, and we are also starting an esports program. It's a brand new program that we are starting here at the college. The game design is growing little by little, but I think with this add-on of esports, it's going to be growing exponentially. So you might want to reach out separately to me, and I can get you in contact with our esports Guy, he's awesome. And then the other, esports or cinema. Cinema we do not have as a major.
Mhm. All right, thank you. So, guys, keep your questions coming regarding the programs. But for now, I am going to move on to the next topic, which is employment as an international student. So, can international students work on campus while studying?
Yes, international students are able to work part-time on campus while they're here as a student. Every college is different in terms of the type of jobs or how many jobs they have available for international students, so you'll have to ask. But yes, that is an option. And at IVC, we do hire international students. I can say we definitely don't have as many jobs as we have students asking for them. But we have had international students work here on campus for sure.
Perfect. So from Instagram, Dina is also asking any age limit to apply to IVC?
So typically, our age limit is at least 16 because we require students to be high school graduates in order to be admitted. That is most common throughout the community college system. You have to be a high school graduate or 18 years of age or older in order to be admitted to community college.
So now just talking more about the campus and the social environment, what are the student services offered at IVC in terms of tutoring services or housing or even
Mhm.
health center?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we have a pretty extensive student success center, and they offer tutoring in all sorts of subjects, and that's a free service to students, which is great. We have math and English labs that are specific to those two fields, since those are two pretty big majors that are schools at the college. There's computer labs where students are able to use the computer facilities. There's, of course, a library. There is the health center, and the health center offers a lot of free services for students. Right now, they're doing a lot of things in relation to COVID testing and COVID vaccination for students as well. Um, and then there is also our student life organization. There's over 50 different campus clubs, social clubs, students can join. So there's a fair amount of support to help students throughout their studies.
And Julian is also asking, do you assist with the visa process?
Oh, yeah, totally. That's what our office does. So there is a specific application that you would have to submit. And once you submit that application, it's pretty simple. I think that's another huge difference between the university system and the community college is that our application process is much quicker and much easier to process. So for us, for example, we require proof of high school graduation and then your financial statement, which we'll talk about it a little bit more in a minute. And then English proficiency. So we do require students to have a TOEFL or Duolingo or one of the English proficiency test scores in order to be admitted. And then once you submit all those documents to us, it only takes about 3 to 5 business days to process your file. And then we would issue the acceptance letter and the I-20. And the I-20 is the immigration document you would take to the U.S. Embassy to get the F1 or student visa.
Great. So actually, Daphne and Abby Koi on the comments, they were also asking about the requirements to apply. So Christina just mentioned, are there any more requirements or are they, did you mention?
I think that's those are the main ones or the ones. I will say in terms of the financial statement, you know, I mentioned the 30 to 70% less expensive tuition. And you'll see that when you're submitting your financial documents. You know, IVC, Irvine Valley College, our total tuition for the year is about $8,700 US. UCLA, UC Berkeley, their tuition is about $40,000 US per year. So that's a huge cost savings, right? And you're doing the same courses, you're going to get the same bachelor's degree, but you will have saved a lot of money. I think our total financial statement we require, so our estimate of tuition and living expenses is about 24,000 US, and that's still less than the tuition rate at the UC system. So that alone shows you what a great cost savings. But yeah, the basic requirements: financial statement, English proficiency, proof of high school graduation.
Yeah, that's really interesting with the saving money option. Like that's a really great opportunity, and I really advise you guys to take opportunity of that. So now, can you tell us more about the cost of living and also the lifestyle in Irvine?
Sure. So Irvine is in Southern California. We're in Orange County. So Orange County, or Irvine itself, is about an hour south of Los Angeles, about an hour north of San Diego. So kind of right there in the middle. We're 15 minutes from Disneyland, which is my happy place, as well as about 15 minutes from the beach. So we're close to Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, Huntington Beach. All of that is very close. So it's kind of a laid back lifestyle. I mean, Orange County, Irvine itself is an affluent area. It's a very also diverse area. So Irvine it's not a large city, so we're not at all like Los Angeles, for example. But there's a lot of business here. A lot of national and international companies have offices here in Irvine. It's been called the Silicon Valley of Southern California. So Google has an office here, for example. UC Irvine is also located right up the road. So there's another major university here. So it's got a little bit of a college town feel. But because it's a planned community, I mean, it's been on the FBI's safest city in America list, so it's very easy to get around. But it's also been on numerous lists of one of the best kind of planned cities in America. So there's lots of open space, parks, bike trails, lots of outdoor activity. I mean, we have really nice weather most of the year. I think it's what, 20, 22 degrees most of the year Celsius, which is what, in the mid 70s, 80s. So really nice outdoor weather. There's also shopping and movies and restaurants, lots of different food, which is wonderful, and a great place for students to be able to get around.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. So there's a question from Amira related to programs. How about if you have a program in data science and artificial intelligence?
So those are pretty specific majors. So again, community colleges are offering kind of the basic programs. So for someone wanting to get into artificial intelligence or data science, you would probably be doing either a computer science major with us or maybe even a pre-engineering major, depending. And that's going to give you the basic courses that you need to be eligible to enter those more specific majors. And that's all spelled out in like the assist.org program, where it will list like artificial intelligence as a major at, let's say, I don't know, UCLA. And it'll tell you what courses you need to take with us to be eligible to enter that major.
So there's another question from Niharika. Do you have any program related to English?
So in terms of, I'm going to assume you mean English communication or creative writing or written English. Yes, we do have English as a major, communication as a major. One thing that we don't do is teach intensive English. So all of our students do need to submit one of the English proficiency scores. IVC is not authorized to teach intensive English to international students. That's not the same at every community college. Other community colleges might have a program where you can study English first and then enter their college. So you got to do research on that as well.
So there's a question from Fur. If I am 22, can I apply?
Yeah, we have students of all ages. I mean, community colleges, I think when you go into the classroom, community colleges, again, are kind of open access. We're open for the community. And so you're going to find students that are 18, sometimes even 16, all the way up to 80, potentially, because we get students right out of high school, but we also get students who are maybe making a career change for whatever reason. And so you'll get all different ages. So yeah, 22, yeah, apply.
Yeah, that's great. So now back to the admission process for international students. A lot of the institutions in the USA ask for an SAT. Does the IVC ask for that?
No, the SAT, community colleges never ask for an SAT. And I think you're going to find that a lot of universities are no longer requiring it, actually, in particular due to COVID. But no, we do not require SAT. And when you transfer to university from community college, it will not be required either. Neither will the TOEFL or English proficiency, because the university is going to look at the grades you got at community college at IVC to make their admission decision. They're not going to be looking at your high school scores. So some of you students maybe that didn't do so well in high school, that couldn't or did well but not well enough to get right into your dream school. If you go to community college first, up your grades, the university is going to look at those grades to make the admission decision. So we've seen a lot of times where students maybe could not have gotten into their top school as a freshman, but they did get into it as a community college transfer. Because again, remember, you're also now going to have 2 years of study in the English language, so they don't need a English proficiency score. They've got it 2 years worth from our school.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So Daphne is just making sure again that she's 16 and she can apply to IVC.
Yeah, Daphne, as long as you are a high school graduate, you would be eligible to apply. You would be considered what we call legally a minor. So you would have to live with a legal guardian here in the area. But we do have a host family program, and some of our minor students will live with one of the host families until they turn 18.
Okay, thank you. So Shahida here, she has a question.
Mm-hmm.
So her husband is 33. He has 8 years of study gap before his bachelor. He completed his bachelor in 28 years. So can you tell me, will it be a problem to get an F1 visa?
I think that's a good question, and it could be only because depending on the country where the student is coming from, depending on, the age, sometimes the embassy, of course, is always looking at the intent to immigrate when they are making a decision about giving the F1 visa. And so it could be a little bit harder, but we have had students, older students, come and they have been granted the F1 visa. So, I mean, I can't say 100% it's possible or 100% it's not possible. Every situation is different. I think that he would have to have really strong ties to his home country to kind of help his chances of getting the visa.
Mm-hmm. So Mary's also asking what it takes to apply for a performing arts program and how it goes.
Yeah. You just need to submit the documents. There's no specific portfolio or anything that you would need because, again, community colleges, we're starting at the beginning. So you're going to be building the portfolio to show the university through your program with us. So all you need to do is submit the basic application that I mentioned earlier, and you would be eligible for admission.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So a lot of the students are also interested in knowing more about the scholarship opportunities. So what are the scholarships offered for international students applying at IVC?
Sure. So, one of the things we like to say, and it is true, community college tuition in and of itself is kind of like a scholarship because it's so much less than university. So we always want you to remember that right off the bat. Having said that, it's still a fair amount of money. So IVC does have a scholarship program. It's for continuing students. So you wouldn't be eligible as a first-time student, but you would in your second semester. There is a specific application period. It's based on primarily on grades that you've received at IVC, but also your activities in the campus and the community. So if you're doing volunteer work in our local community or you're involved in different campus clubs, those are really important anywhere in terms of getting scholarships. IVC also has specific scholarships for international students, which are a part of that scholarship package as well. And you will receive information about it once you arrive and register for classes.
Mm-hmm. Great. So guys, my questions are done from my side. So this is your time to ask whatever you want about the programs, the process and anything about IVC, Christina's here to help you and really get you to study abroad and study in the USA specifically. So just to make it clear for the students, can you tell us an tuition fee average for IVC?
So the tuition fee average per year is $8,700 US. You'll pay that in 2 installments. So there's 2 semesters in an academic year. We just started our spring semester today, actually. We admit 3 times a year in fall, which begins in August, spring, which begins in January, and then our summer session, which begins in June. The application periods typically start a few months before each of those dates, and then the deadline is usually a month before the program start date.
Perfect. So if you guys don't have any more questions for Christina, you can also ask. You can also get in touch with the email. Actually, I see a question here. So they're asking more about the application process. Can you please go through the application process?
Sure. So, for example, on February 1st, we will be opening our application for both our summer and our fall terms. The first thing students are going to do is do our online application. Once you do that, you're going to be issued a student ID. And then once you get your student ID, you're going to submit the missing documents to us, which include your bank statement and affidavit of support showing the $24,000, which is our estimate of 1 year of tuition and living expenses. You're going to submit your English proficiency score. And I see someone asking about Duolingo. Yes, Duolingo is one of the tests that we accept. We also accept TOEFL and IELTS, Pearson, ITEP, a fair number of them. So you'll submit that as well. And then proof of high school graduation. And then we do have a $54 application fee. You'll send all of that to us. You can email all of the documents to us. And as I said, it's about a 3 to 5 day processing time. And then we will email you, hopefully, the acceptance and the I-20. If we notice something is missing, one of our advisors will send you an email and ask you to send the missing documents. It's pretty easy, pretty simple process.
So Nick is also asking, do you offer on-campus housing?
That's a great question. That is one thing that is a difference between community colleges and universities. So in a university, students are typically coming from all over the United States, all over the world. Community colleges are really there to teach in the local community. So that being said, most community colleges do not have on-campus housing because everybody lives in the community. Irvine Valley College, and in our local area, there's a lot of apartments, even within walking distance of the campus or bicycle distance. We have a local bus that's now free to Irvine Valley College students. So most of our students will live in an off-campus apartment. And then we also have about 3 or 4 host family programs that we work with, and they will place you in a local American family that you can live with as well. So those are the off-campus housing options.
Perfect. So Piero is asking, can I apply in any month of the year?
So these are good questions. Each of our semesters has a specific application period. So for example, our fall semester, we start admitting February to July. Summer, we admit February to May 1st, and then spring is usually September to December 1st. So there is a specific application period.
Perfect. So Shahida is asking if she can communicate. All right, so we will actually put the email on screen, guys, for you if you have any more questions that you weren't able to ask today. But we still have about 5 minutes for now. If you would like to ask a question now, you can. And if you would like to ask later, you can do it through email, and we will provide that on screen. So there's a question from Instagram. What is the minimum score for the TOEFL test?
So the TOEFL test, the internet IBT is 52, and the paper-based is 470. Duolingo, I feel like it's 90, but that might be wrong. So check the website. Sometimes even the director doesn't remember everything. IELTS is 4.5. And those are the ones I can remember right now, but it's all on our website. And as Lean said, email me. I'm always happy to answer questions. Make sure that you put that you were in the live stream, and then I'll probably remember seeing your names pop up. But feel free to send an email after this, because I'm always happy to answer questions. It's a huge decision going to university anyway for anybody, but for someone coming from another country, there's so much more you have to think about, right? And you need to feel very, very comfortable asking questions. And there are no silly questions in particular. And a really great way to figure out if you're making a good decision is the response time and the responses you're getting from your community college or your university. If you're not hearing back from a university, what does that say about the support perhaps that they're giving to students? So that's a really critical way that you can start doing a little bit of research on what's a good fit for you.
Mm-hmm. That's such a great tip, Christina. Thank you for that. So, if you guys don't have any more questions, that was it for today. It was such a great conversation with you, Christina, and thank you so much for all your great answers. And I'm sure the students also benefited a lot from this amazing opportunity that you talked about. Would you like to share anything else with the students about studying abroad or pursuing education overseas?
Do it. I mean, if you can do it, definitely go for it, because it's such a life-changing experience. I studied overseas in Italy for a year. My program was very structured, so I give you all kudos thinking of coming totally on your own. You will learn so much about yourself, about the world. It'll just be a life-changing experience, and you're going to get a great degree and be set up to have a wonderful career. So if you're thinking about it, definitely do it and do your research.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Christina, for being here.
You're welcome. Good luck, guys. Hope to see you at IVC.
All right, so guys, that was it for today. I really hope that you enjoyed and you were excited just like I was, because that was really great information to know about the system in the USA and about community college and lots of amazing opportunities to save money as well. So I really hope that you take advantage of these and look into IVC, and just don't be afraid to apply. If you have any more questions, like we said, you can direct Christina on the email that we provided on screen. And other than that, I just want to remind you guys that the Student World has an Instagram account where we always update information. We always post about so many amazing things related to studying abroad, whether it was about destinations, programs, scholarships, and we even always take your suggestions about what we should post about. So we always read your comments, and it's a great way to communicate with us as well. You can follow us there, and also you can message us on direct message to also suggest episodes or just ideas for future episodes for this live, and we will be more than happy to take your suggestions. So thank you once again for being here, and I really hope to see all of you guys again next Tuesday. Thank you.